taken. First, there is, as the Bible says, nothing new under the sun. These fights within American Christendom have raged for generations, many generations, going back, even predating the Civil War, obviously. And also, as far as the church is concerned, I had this conversation with a Catholic friend recently where he said, "You keep saying the church." And he said, "The church means something different to you than it does to me, doesn't it?" He's from Boston. And I said, "Yeah, I grew up in the white evangelical church, so when I say the church, especially in the context of this reporting, that's what I mean." And I do try to go out of my way in the piece to make clear that we're talking about white evangelicals here. And obviously, when you look at, to Eddie's point again, the 2016 election, in the exit polling, white evangelicals gave Donald Trump 81% of their votes, whereas white mainline Protestants, much less, black self-identified evangelicals or Hispanic self-identified evangelicals, the numbers were 50 to 80% lower. So there's an enormous self-identification gap here as far as, where these different religious blocs align politically and specifically with this president. I do think, Nicole, that there is something unique about Trumpism and its marriage to white evangelicalism in the culture today. There's a passage in the book where I'm talking with a pastor, and he's telling about how near the end of the Obama presidency, there was this sort of hopelessness and this fear taking root inside the church. He talks about how many of his congregants were listening to Rush Limbaugh for 3 hours a day, every day, and watching Fox News for a few hours at night, every night, and how they're coming into his church on Sunday mornings, and he's feeling totally outdone. He's feeling totally overwhelmed by the doom and the gloom and the fear that's just sort of written all over his congregants' faces. And he said, when Donald Trump came along and said that he could make America great again, he said it meant something very specific to them, that it didn't mean to sort of mainline Protestants or your average white voter, much less many other voters, but to the white evangelical in America, Donald Trump represented something very specific. And it was not until he was elected that I think we really began to grapple with the degree to which Trump's transactional genius, which was promising these people the world, and in exchange demanding their unflinching loyalty, how it would shape not only his presidency, but sort of the fault lines emerging in American life today, whether it's over Roe v. Wade or transgender bathrooms or anything happening around critical race theory being taught in schools or not taught in schools. All of this in some way can be traced back to this original transactionalism between Trump and white evangelicals. I think this is something we're going to be studying for a very long time to come. This is really just the beginning of it.
Well, and Eddie, the piece, if there's something instructive, if there's something good to come from this, with all due respect, an unholy alliance, it is to find those emotional, unbreakable bonds for Democrats with big parts of their base. Because when you hear about this bond and this commitment and this compact, really, which is what Tim is describing, a compact between white evangelical American voters and Donald Trump, where do you see that tight of a bond, that reliable of a voter, or where is the opportunity to grow some that's a more holy alliance, frankly, between what are values only championed by one of the two major political parties, a belief in the importance of our democracy and a commitment to protect it?
I think that's the million-dollar question. We see it among workers who've seen their quality of life deteriorate. We know that there are opportunities among young people who are coming of age in a world that's broken. We know there are opportunities among Black and Latino voters for the Democratic Party to begin to put forward a vision. But I think it's really important to really flesh out just for a quick moment, what Tim is suggesting. Not only is there transactionalism vis-a-vis Donald Trump and white evangelical community, but there's a kind of transactionalism from the white evangelical Christian community towards Donald Trump. They needed a strong man to implement their vision of the world. And they've been fighting and organizing for 50 and 60 years for this. We can go back to Paul Weyrich and others, Robert Billings and others, debates around Brown v. Board, debates about safe schools, debates about the IRS clamping down on Christian schools. We can go down the line about the reaction to the women's movement, the reaction to the gay liberation movement. But it seems to me that the Democratic Party, Nicole, has been pushed by struggles in the street, have been pushed by movements in the street. But I don't know what's its agenda. What its agenda is apart from those movements. So what is the passion? As I said last time, I'm not sure. I'm still struggling to figure it out. But maybe it has to be from ordinary people in the streets demanding a different kind of world than what white Christian evangelicals are arguing and fighting for.
I feel like if we had 2 more hours, the three of us could figure out the answer to anything, including that. This is such an important piece of reporting, sort of, especially if you haven't. I mean, from my time on campaigns, I understand its importance in Republican politics, but it's a really modern and fresh and urgent piece of reporting about something anybody in the political space should understand. I'm grateful to both of you for bringing it out and bringing it to life. Thank you so much, Tim Alberta and Eddie Cloud. Thank you both. When we